We are live. Good afternoon, everyone, just about. I'm very conscious, thank you for joining. I'm very conscious that throughout the UK at the moment, there's a 2 minute silence to commemorate the 80th anniversary of Victory in Japan Day, which I was completely unaware of when I started when I planned the webinar. I'm not going to pause for 2 minutes because I expect it to be very confusing for anybody who's coming into the webinar now just to be greeted with a 2 minute silence without any context. But I do want to recognise that event and pay my respects to everybody involved, affected, touched by these terrible events of 80 years ago, who did so much for our world as it is today. But I don't want to get down and maudlin. Yeah, I did think it was very important to recognize that. This is going to be a super fast whip through of HubSpot for sales managers. So let me kind of explain where I'm coming from. If you're here and you fancy sharing, fancy asking any questions as we go through, by the way, just pop them into the chat and I'll try and pick them up as we go along. We'll be 45 minutes, so it'll be all over soon, I promise. And there'll be a recording that we can send around. So if you can't stay for the whole thing, or indeed if you're watching this on playback and you missed it, I'm happy to be able to facilitate that. It's very much going to be demonstration led. This session, I'm not going to do an awful lot of talking about anything other than the tools as they are, but I will start off with this principle that I want to share. You know that I talk a lot about, if you know me, you know I talk a lot about adoption. It's one of the reasons why we're partners with Supered, which is a fantastic adoption platform. But one of the things that most businesses miss, a lot of the partners out there, not all by any stretch, but a lot of them, and certainly a lot of the clients miss, is the number one issue, if you like, for to drive adoption. The number one thing that you need to make happen to drive adoption, and that is to manage your teams through HubSpot. I'm just going to pause there for a second because I've got some people telling me that they can't get in. Is there anybody actually there? If you could chat and tell me that that you can hear me and see me, that would be really useful. Otherwise, I've done something majorly wrong and there's no one there. Oh, thank goodness for that. somebody there. I'm just going to send an email quickly to the person who can't get in. Thank you, everybody. That's perfect. Is that you? Is that Mark Rowe? Fantastic. Great to see you here, Mark. So you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Oh dear. I've got people. The webinar's full as well. This is a bit of an unusual situation. I've got people knocking the door trying to get in and they can't get in because the webinar's full. Thanks, Adam. I appreciate that. And people emailing me to say that they don't have the link. It's all. I should have thought ahead. Realized it was going to be quite so popular, and get somebody to help me with the production. Sorry about that distraction. Right. Okay. So there's like 4 stages to adoption as I understand them. The first is your data. You've got to get your data right, and that is increasingly the case in the world of AI. If you've got dodgy data in your CRM, then people aren't going to adopt it because they're not going to trust the data. They're not going to get out of the data what they need. They're not going to find the answers to the questions that they have. Now, their lack of adoption, the fact that they swerve the CRM, only contributes to that data problem. So it's fair to say data is a massive issue when it comes to adoption. The second idea, the second big point, is the idea that you have to have it implemented properly. You have to have it set up for you. That means you have to pull the processes from your organization, and HubSpot partners like myself and Adam, who's here, can also help you on this kind of thing, can make sure that HubSpot reflects your process perfectly. So it does exactly what it is you need it to do in order to support the way you want to do business. The third step is training. And these so far are sort of standard steps. We do training role-based, we do training for admins, we do training for functional specialists. So we do training for sales and marketing people as well. So not only will we train you in how to use HubSpot as a user, how to manage HubSpot as an admin, but we'll help train you as a salesperson, help train you as a marketing person too. But this final piece, I call it the MCS, the Management Control System. The MCS is where you ensure adoption actually happens. We see too many, and I'm going to focus on sales managers today, too many sales managers coming out of HubSpot to continue to manage teams the way that they've done it before, which makes a lot of sense. Why wouldn't you do that? But maybe they'll get information even from outside of HubSpot to put into a spreadsheet so that they can see it. Maybe they'll have coaching calls with their team off-site or via a phone call on a Friday evening as they drive home from their patch for the weekend. Um, we're missing an awful lot of opportunity here. We're missing an awful lot of data that would be at our fingertips and insight that comes from the tools that we use. So my suggestion is, if you're a sales manager, that you get to grips with these tools as you've got them available. These days, they're quite sophisticated, as I'll show you in a second. And you literally, you bite the bullet and you learn how to manage your team directly through the HubSpot interface. Now, the main thing this does, if you pick up a conversation with a salesperson and you say to them, hey, look, according to HubSpot, you only did 10 calls last week, whatever it is, right? And they say, well, no, it's not 10 calls. I did 20 calls as I'm supposed to. Then what you're going to need them to do is to make sure that those calls are getting recorded in HubSpot. That's you driving the adoption, right? So as a manager, immediately, without even trying, you're driving adoption. If those calls aren't down, if they're not in HubSpot, they didn't happen as far as we're concerned. If those meetings haven't been booked through HubSpot, if those emails haven't been sent through HubSpot, if those conversations aren't reflected as deals in the deal pipeline and the leads aren't listed in your lead pipeline, they don't exist. And you'll only be able to reinforce that position when you manage the team in HubSpot. And you're going to manage the team in various tool sets. And that's what we're going to flash through now. I would say the recording will be available if you want to look at it again. But obviously, if anybody has any questions, deeper questions that I can't cover on the webinar, just get in touch. We do this stuff all the time. More than happy to have a chat with you about any of the issues this throws up. So let's jump in. I'm going to start at the top. I'm going to start with the HubSpot sales performance workspace. I'm actually going to change that view. I'm going to share this tab instead. And I'm going to show you the Sales Manager's Bible. Okay. So if you don't see this in your portal, it's quite likely that when you click on sales, you'll see Sales Workspace, but you may not see sales performance because, as you can see, this is a beta. And HubSpot are not fast in enrolling people in this beta. So you may even have registered for it some time ago and not yet had it released to you. So chase them because it's well worth it. As a sales manager, this is where I would start my every day. Okay, now this is live, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. This is a live real-time portal, so I won't show you any of the data, but I will show you what you can get from the Sales Performance Workspace. Just as an aside, how many? Maybe you can stick it in chat. Just put a Y or an N. How many of you have got the Sales Performance Workspace active in your HubSpot portals? Or maybe if it's an N, how many people think this is news to them, and perhaps they haven't seen it before? Just drop it in the chat. Let me know where you are with it. But what the Sales Performance Workspace is doing, like all HubSpot tools, is very straightforward, very easy to understand. It's giving me a summary. It's giving me a team breakdown. And it's giving me an opportunity for a specific dashboard. I've got a web analytics dashboard in here at the minute, which is probably not all that relevant to a sales performance workspace. But you can set whatever dashboard you like, even your sales management dashboard, so that it's there, handy, easy for you to see it. Now, this is where I think it gets really, really clever. The summary at the top is obviously a business summary. You've got what's going on with your deals, your deal win rates and the calls and so on, as you can see. And as I mentioned, those are live business analytics. I don't mind sharing them. Yours will be bigger or smaller than that, depending. But then you've got this performance intelligence piece. We can manage this by the pipeline that we want to see or by all pipelines. And we can look at the specific insights into our teams or into individuals here as well. So this is all pipelines and all salespeople in my business. It's a very small business. There's only a couple of us. And what it's showing us is initially on this first page, the risks that HubSpot's AI thinks are in my portal based on what's going on in my portal. Now, already, I'm coming from a day when the only time I would get this information is by trawling through deal pipeline stages myself, looking and talking to reps at the data. So getting a kind of sideways view of this, it blows my mind that HubSpot will now tell me specifically, directly, what it is it needs me to look at, what it is it suggests that I look at. And you can see the sort of risks that it's flagging here. So the this first one is saying that our average deal score has dropped. So we'll take a look at deal scores in a second. Health scores in HubSpot are going to be a big thing over the next 12 months. You'll have a health score for contacts and companies as well as deals. And if you're using deal health score, it's a great little way of understanding what's happening. We've got 27 deals in a specific pipeline here that have stalled for 20% longer than average. That's an obvious risk to the business. We need to get in and get across that. We have 28 deals of no logged activities. Now, let's think about that adoption piece for a second. Is there no logged activities on that because nobody has done anything or because nobody has logged anything? That's exactly what I mean by driving adoption through these tools. If I go in there and say, guys, there's no activities against these deals, what's going on? And they say, oh, no, well, we've been ringing and we've had meetings and so on and so on. And they're not in HubSpot, it gives you immediate opportunity to drive through compliance with your adoption, with the things that you want people to do. And you can see, various other issues that is throwing up as risks as well. If I jump into the risk, open it out, it gives me very specific details as to what's going on. It gives me a breeze analysis of the scenario as well. And it allows me to see, there you go, there's the analysis of what's happening. It's telling me exactly what it thinks is a problem. And it's breaking down specifically the individual areas that I need to look at. For me, this is just like, it's such a no-brainer. If you haven't got it switched on, get it switched on. Go into your portal update section, which you'll find here. Product updates, I'm sorry to say. Search for sales performance and join the beta. Get this into your platform as soon as you can. It'll also record wins for you. It's quite a sad state of affairs. I got no wins this week, so I can't show you what wins look like, but it does also show you trends. So these are the trends that it's picking up through use of the portal. And you can see what happened last week, the week before, the month and the quarter. It's just going to flag up to you what those trends might be, things for you to anticipate and look into. So in many ways, it's literally doing the work of a sales manager for you, or at least giving you a really good clue as to what you should be across, okay? And as I mentioned, you can break that down by the individual teams, and you can see how they're going against their forecasts. You can see how they're going against their target performance as well. And you can add a little dashboard should you require it. Now I'm going to move on to the sales workspace. Let me just check to see whether there are any comments. No, so no further questions at the minute. So I'll carry on. So in the sales workspace, you'll notice that you've got the ability to see your own summaries here. So as a salesperson, I find this extremely useful. Not only am I able to keep a track of where my leads are, what leads I'm talking to. This is now demo data, so I don't mind you seeing all of this stuff. But I'm able to see my deals, and I'm able to see my deals in different views. I can see them as a list, or I can see them as a Kanban now. And I can see the deal scores, as I mentioned earlier. And this is what HubSpot was observing are going down in the other portal that I showed you. So that would be something to look into on a very specific perspective. And down the left-hand side here, I've got filters already built. So let's have a look at all the deals that are stalled, or let's have a look at the ones where there's no activity scheduled, and so forth. I've also got a ready reckoner on my tasks here. So I can launch my task queue from here. I can create a new task, or I can send tasks over to somebody else, should that be the most useful thing. And I can go into my schedule here as well. So this is my calendar is connected to HubSpot. And what you'll see is for up and coming meetings and follow-up opportunities, HubSpot is going to head up, give you a heads up on what's happening so you can prepare for it. Now, it's really interesting because if you go into the meeting that you're going to have, and it's not set up on my demo portal, so it's not doing it, but this will show you who the person is that you're meeting, who their company is, and it'll give you an overview of that person and potentially the last conversation you had with them. So it's very, very easy for you to get up to speed with what's going on as a salesperson. You've also got your own personal dashboard that you can add here, or if you have a sales team dashboard, you can add your sales team dashboard, or you can add whatever dashboard you want. So this is my home base as a salesperson. I come here, I switch it on every morning, and I come in and I look at what it is I've got to do. Similarly to the sales performance workspace, in the summary, it's going to tell me what actions it thinks I need to take, what deals it thinks I need to look at, and what prospects it thinks I need to look after. It's going to give me actual live information and insight into each of these things. As this is a demo portal, there's none there to see, but you can see that within this summary page. It'll show you where I am with my tasks, what I'm looking at that's due today, what's overdue. There you go. That's the sort of view that you get when it's overdue. And you're even able to go in and share your sequences so that you can see what's going on with your sequences as well. I lost the screen, I think. Thanks. I was just sorry about that. I'm using this platform for the first time, as you may remember, and therefore things have gone a little bit astray. So just to sort of cover back over, because I'm not sure how much of that you guys missed. This is the sales workspace, and on here you can see the summary, you can see the lead section, the deals, tasks, and schedule. You've got your schedule on the right hand side here, and then these guided actions is what I was just talking about. The guided actions are where HubSpot is going to suggest what it thinks you need to do, and those actions will involve things like emails that it thinks you need to follow up, meetings that it thinks you need to follow up, that you need to add details into, sequences that need attention. Anything that's in HubSpot that you need to be doing will be here in the summary. And that's why I land here first thing in the morning every day. What do I need to do? What tasks have I got available? What tasks have I got due? How are my sequences doing? And then what do I have to do as pertains my deals, my emails, my meetings, and everything else. Now, the good thing from a sales manager perspective, because I'm a salesperson and a sales manager, like many sales managers, with the correct permissions, I can also come in and I can see other salespeople here as well, and I can see their day. So, now I can see the actions that HubSpot thinks Mark needs to take. Mark's a partner in the business, and bearing in mind this is demo portal again, so this is all nonsense. But it shows me actions that it suspects I should be taking as Mark, and when it comes to my emails, when it comes to my meetings, and so on. It shows me everything that I need to understand about what deals are becoming due, what deals need attention, and anything that's prospecting related, as we saw on the screen previously. It'll also show him the tasks he has due and the sequences due. And obviously, if I'm his sales manager and I jump in here, I get a very, very direct insight into the work that Mark is doing. I literally see the work. If you like, see the, when you answer an exam question and they say, show your work, this is the show your work. This is what you need to see in order to move, to get a very, very full grasp of what's happening, down to being able to click in and see the leads that your salespeople are working on, see the deals that they have, see the tasks that they've set for themselves to do, see their schedule even for the day or for the week. And if we need to have a look at the dashboard as well. So again, as a sales manager tool, this is really, really important. So I go from if I jump back to the sales workspace, performance workspace quickly. I go from this sort of big overview of everything that's going on, portal wide, where HubSpot AI is demonstrating to me the things that I need to be aware of, the risks, the trends, and even the wins that I need to be across as a sales manager. Then the sales workspace is showing me not only my own work, but the work of everybody else within my team at a really granular level. Now, you might argue you don't really need much more than that in order to manage your teams. Imagine jumping onto your coaching call with your salesperson, pulling up their workspace and literally going through every part of their day there and then. And honestly, if I had this as a sales manager 20 years ago, I'd have made so much money. It's so powerful. Okay, let's chat through your individual leads. Let's chat through your individual deals. And here they all are, not only scored, but I can go into the deal and I can see exactly what's going on. I can see the conversations we're having. The opportunities for coaching are just absolutely incredible. So these two workspaces, I think, are massive for salespeople and for sales managers. You get the overarching view, if you like, the big picture, and you get to be able to drill in directly down to the salesperson as well. Now, I'll just pause for breath for a sec and check back into the screen. Anybody's got any questions? Put your questions into the chat. Otherwise, I'll speed through. I'll continue to speed through. Did anybody have Sales Performance Workspace open in their portal? Give us a Y or an N in the chat if you've already got Performance Workspace activated. Looks like either there's nobody there. Requested. Thank you. I wonder, Peter, how long you've had it requested for, because I've seen it take a month to be activated. Don't be afraid to give support a nudge if you've been waited for a while. Cheers, Mark. Thank you. Don't be afraid to give him a nudge and say, where is it? Because I've seen it take quite a long time, and it's such a powerful tool. Okay. Thank you for that audience participation. Very gratifying. Let's go back into to the demo. Right. So the next thing I want to point out as a tool, a specific tool, is the goals and forecast functionality within HubSpot. It amazes me as a partner when I go into clients' portals that you don't see these things set up. Again, as a sales manager, this is absolutely essential stuff. You may not even know that you have it. If you go into the reporting section of HubSpot, you'll see dashboards, you'll see reports, and you'll see this little section, goals, hidden away almost at the bottom of the portal. It's one of the most powerful tools within the whole thing. What you'll see when you go into the portal, there are none set up because this is a demonstration portal. When you see what's available to you, it's quite brilliant. So I've gone in, and this is an enterprise level portal. So yours may look a little bit different to this, but the principles are sound. And this shows me the templates that we have available to us to set as goals or targets, right? If you like. The obvious ones are revenue and forecast revenue, but we can set targets and goals for our support teams, even for our marketing teams, in terms of what's happening with ad interactions, for instance, tickets closed and so forth. But we can, sales-wise, we can set really obvious goals like deals created, cost per contacts, network conversions, meetings booked, all sorts of really useful goals. And all you need to do in order to set them up is to follow the template. So let's click and walk through setting up of a revenue goal quickly. I think I'm still sharing this tab this time. So you're able to select the template that you want, first of all. And these are the sales templates here: revenue, forecastable revenue, deals created, calls made, or meetings booked. To stick with revenue. You can check out the definitions if you want to, just to make sure that it's what you expect it to be. You can select whether or not you want to use the tool in the forecasting tool as well. So do we want to say, yeah, this is a forecastable goal? So as well as revenue, we're going to make it a forecast. Then you give the goal a name. You could call it whatever you want. You can do it by individual. You can do it by team. You can set all sorts of individual aspects, and you can set the duration. So you can set weekly, monthly, and quarterly, annual, or even custom goals for your teams. Once you've done that, once you've chosen what it is you're going to do, you go into the next screen, and that allows you just to plug in the target, set them as easy as that. If you want to say give somebody the same target for every month, then you just enter the amount, click apply, and those targets will fall through. Now, you do need to be careful that you make sure you've selected the right year, because you'll see in HubSpot the ability to set targets for this year, for next year, and for a few years into the future, which obviously is really handy. And I can also go into these individually and adjust them should I need to, up or down. And when they're ready and you're happy to move forward with them, you will see in the goals section. I'm going to jump into the other portal again quickly. In the goals section, I need to make sure I keep hold of the screen. You'll see your goals beautifully illustrated. You can go into them individually, and you'll see these nice gauge illustrations. You see actual versus user goals. You'll see leaderboards. You'll see the goals in progress, goals achieved, goals missed, and so forth. You'll be able to break it down into your user performance, and you can even edit the goal on the fly should you need to as well. Now, obviously, when it comes to reporting and your dashboards, you can take all of those reports and you can build them into sales analytic reports as well. So if you're reporting on sales and what's going on, it might make it easier to see exactly how the person is performing against their goal, but this is where you create them. Now, the second thing I think that I find is underused in terms of supporting performance is the forecasts. The forecasts are back up in sales. And if you come down to the forecast screen here, it'll take you through to setting up the forecast. Let me just do that on the demo account again, sorry. Forecasts. Now, forecasts are showing us quite a lot of information here, but it is quite technical to get it set up properly. And I think that may be why people don't always use it. But once you've created your forecasts, you select the type of forecast here as you would in most of the other platform UI. You see what your goals, what the closed one, the gap, and the forecast submission is. So really nice and straightforward. Here's your forecast. And then there are a couple of things here just to explain briefly. So you can see this is scrolling across. You're able in HubSpot to set up types of forecast, if you like. So based on the deal stages that you want to include in a forecast, you're able to say, this is my weighted pipeline forecast, for instance. This is my coverage. This is a pipeline stage. This is my prospect identified forecast, appointment schedule forecast, and so on and so on and so on. And you can quantify in HubSpot even if you want to make these combined deal stages into a forecast. So let's put all our weighted, all our coverage, and all our prospect identified forecasts into one main forecast. Or let's create a forecast for nailed on, right? So let's create a forecast that's only got contract sent deals in it. And those will be the forecasts then that you'll be able to submit, for instance, into management reports. Or you could say, here's our best guess. This is a best case, and this is our nailed on case. So we're forecasting 100, or we hope to get to 150, or whatever. This is all constructed within the settings for this forecast section. And again, not only can you see them here, and you can create the forecasts here, you can put them into the dashboards. So you could have your goal achievement alongside your forecasts in your dashboard, and obviously your forecast goals as well. As we saw, we can make goals for forecasts. So let's say your pipeline needs to be 3 times your target. You can see instantly how that salesperson is doing against that 300% of target pipeline. The other thing you can do here, which I really like, is a lot of salespeople have gut feelings about forecasts, and sometimes they don't like to put things into the deal stages. So you can actually take a human being's forecast and add it in here as well. So if they don't, if they're going to say, well, I've got this new deal that's not reflected in HubSpot yet, and I'm pretty sure that's going to come off, so they can submit that as a personal forecast. And again, you can report against that, and obviously you can track the effectiveness of their forecasting based on what the deal pipeline's forecasts have said and what their personal forecasts have said. Added to that, just quickly, and without going into too much detail, you've also got AI multipliers on forecasts as well. So if you use HubSpot AI tools for forecasting, then you'll see that your forecast will improve as time goes on, as HubSpot understands a little bit more about how your weighted forecasts actually relate to the delivered results within the portal. So that's really quite useful as well. Okay, let me just check back to the screen to see any questions on forecasting. No, that's really good. Okay, so goals and forecasts, I think, this is, again, I'm trying to paint a story of how you're working with your sales team, really. If you're doing calls, or rather, if you're doing coaching calls with them, I can see, going into their sales workspace, I can see looking at their performance against their goals for now and into the future, and obviously looking at their forecasts. So these are all very traditional sales management tools that you absolutely can and should be doing in HubSpot. And just to underline again, if you manage your teams this way in HubSpot, that drives that adoption piece for you as well. People won't get away with saying, well, I've not connected my emails, or I haven't got my meetings connected, or I forgot to put that deal in, or I didn't move that deal forward, because you're on top of it, because you're in HubSpot at the same time, which is really, really important. Okay, we're coming to the end. A couple more very, very practical tools for you if you don't already know they exist. So one of them I'm going to show you is Playbooks. Excuse me. If you're in your CRM, and you'll notice in your contacts or companies views, again, this is a demo company, so it's not, this person doesn't actually exist. You'll see you have the ability in the right hand menu to make sure that your playbooks are showing up. So if I'm on a call or I'm reviewing this person, I have ready access to my playbooks. I can open them very easily right from here. The other thing HubSpot will do is, depending on the level or the stage of relationship, the state of the conversation you're having with that person, is it can show you the sort of playbook you need to see at that point. So bearing in mind, this is a demo portal, there's not much data in there. It's basically advising me here that this is a discovery call playbook that I might find useful for this customer. There's no deals in place for them, and so on and so on. So it flags up that I might need the discovery call playbook. Now, why I love playbooks so much as a sales manager is, if I go into the playbook, there's two things that you're going to notice that you can do here. Let me just check. Can you still see that screen? Please, can you let me know with a thumbs up or a yes or a no that you can see? Yes, I think you can see it, because I can see it on my view. Okay, thank you, everybody. Right. So this is the playbook. This is the so-called discovery call playbook, and it's doing a couple of things for me. So the two things it's doing for me is it's structuring the call in exactly the way I want the call to be structured. So it's, in effect, acting as a script for the salesperson. If you're using a sales process like Vant or like Medic or any of those sorts of things where you have to do things in an order or ask a certain set of questions, then you're going to be able to literally script that process for the salesperson to follow, depending on the scenario that they're facing, which I think is just brilliant. You want them to do discovery calls, and you want them to do the discovery call the way that you want them to do the discovery call, capture it in a playbook, and allow them to follow the script and put the answers to the questions directly into the playbook. If I add notes here, it could be, whatever it is that you need to talk to in order to understand what's going on. And as you see, we've got some pre-written answers that they can select here as well. So you get a pretty full picture of the answers to each of the questions. But the other thing that you can do, and you do this in the setup of the playbook, which I won't bore you with at the minute. And if you need to know how to set up a playbook, then please let me know and I'll talk you through it. But the other thing you can do is you can make these questions required. So I can't move on as a rep unless I've put the answer into this question. A little bit like when you set up forms or you set up, create a contact or create a deal. You don't move on unless you've definitely got the email in there, for instance. So we can do the same thing with our sales processes. Now, once you've finished with the playbook, you log the call. And then, as you'll see, the call actually then lives in the customer record. If we go into the activities, that means I'm able to go in within the record immediately and see exactly what it was we were talking about, but exactly what we were talking about according to the sales process that we have in play. That's the key part for me. So if we have a specific discovery call process, if we have a specific value identification of value process, if we have a specific pain process, identifying pain points, if you have a closing process that we want people to go through, whatever the very specific sales process we have, create a playbook for it. They'll pop up into the sidebar so the reps have direct access to them and they can fill them in, and we can even require answers of them from the playbooks as well. Just think fantastically powerful bit of work. I see people trying to achieve this with rules and process rules being set up, validations and so on in the data, and that's fair enough. But this is a really useful, practical tool for a salesperson. You can set up, depending on what your subscription is, you can set up between 5 and goodness knows how many playbooks, and just capture the whole thing. This is how we want things done. Log the call, bang, it's in the record immediately. Fantastic tool. Now, related to playbooks, the other thing that you can do, the other thing you can do with playbooks is obviously show reps best practice within the playbooks. You can show your reps, you can coach your reps with really strong playbook, really strong answers. Look, guys, this is the level of answer that we want to get from our clients when we're talking to them. Check out Tony's playbook here, and you'll see the sort of process in action. You can see how he's asked the questions, the order he's asked the questions, and the sort of answers that he's got. So from a coaching perspective, this is super powerful. Even better from a coaching perspective is another thing I find is very, very underused, and that's coaching playlists. If you go into sales and you go into coaching playlists in HubSpot, if you are using the call-in functionality in HubSpot, and if you're not, why not? Then what you'll find is you have the ability to go in and search all of the calls that you have available to you and all of the transcripts that you have available to you, and create snippets of real best practice of how salespeople or service people handle objections, open conversations, make closes, and you'll be able to take those recordings and put them into your coaching playlist. That gives you ready to follow ramp activities for your new starters. They come straight in here and they listen to the team in real life. This is not one of those horrible role plays that you make them do. This is real life, real world examples of how your team are doing great things. Okay, now the final thing just to touch on is the sales analytics. And if you're a sales manager, you probably already know about this one, and you probably live in here. And what you'll see is you've got tons of information based on activities, deals, and forecasts. So sort of pre-sales, sales, and post-sales activities, if you like. And honestly, if what you're looking for isn't in here, then you're looking for something pretty incredible. We've got call outcomes, we've got activities, We've got outputs of emails. We've got our lead funnels, lead response times, meeting outcomes, and right away down to our prospecting activities. We can see exactly what's going on within the sales team at a glance without having to bother churning through reports. We just come into the analytics, we grab the relevant part of the analytics, and we see literally what's going on. Now, if we find something that's particularly useful, we can save that report and we can add that report to a specific dashboard if we wanted to do that. So even in, you want to send this specific report to your chief exec or to your chairman or something, it's easily done, it's easily added. But here is this massive collection of tons of reports, everything that you need to understand. You've got average deal size, deal changes, your deals created, the deal funnel, your loss reasons. If you're using deal loss reasons, and you should be, then this will give you graphical representation of why people are saying no. How powerful is that information? A little tip for you there, by the way, don't allow reps to write a deal loss reason in, okay? We want them to choose from a checkbox. Think of all of the answers, common answers that you can, and create a drop-down menu for reps to be able to select those answers. So you'll get much better data. Otherwise, what you'll find is you've got 15,000 different closed lost reasons, where most of them will all be because they couldn't get hold of the person or because it was too expensive. We've got pipeline waterfalls, which very fancy looking charts I don't really know how to understand. Deal velocities, deal won and lost. And then we've got the forecast stuff as well. We've got the actual revenues by source that are coming into the business. We've got our forecast category reports, historical snapshots of what we built back in the day, going backwards, quote retainment, performance against goals and targets, revenue reporting, specifically how much money is coming in through the business, where's it coming from, and so on and so on and so on. Within these sales analytics, a super powerful set of tools for you. There's almost anything that you want to need. And again, think of it in terms of coaching with your salesperson. Okay, let's go into one of these. Let's go into your activity. Let's have a look at your completed activities, and let's report this by you. I'm coaching Tony. Let's just have a look at Tony's activity. 2 clicks. I know there's nothing coming up there because this is the demo portal, but 2 clicks and bang, I'm literally able to see what calls were made, what emails were sent, what meetings were booked, what notes were taken, what tasks were created, all of the work that this person is doing. I can see it by team, as I said, or we can see it by them individually. So fantastically powerful in terms of just raw data, but also in terms of coaching. So hopefully you can see, guys, with the workspaces at the top end of it, right the way down through to the granular details of the analytics, the playbooks that we looked at, the forecasting and the goals. You can see just how powerful HubSpot is for sales managers. And this is why I'm so concerned that you guys get the opportunity to learn about these tools so you can run your teams in HubSpot. As I said, running your teams in HubSpot is what drives adoption in the overall platform. Marketing managers can do the same, service managers can do the same, right? I'm only really concerned with sales managers for today, but running the teams through these is the magic ingredient. It's what gets HubSpot to stick, and it's what makes that data really valuable and really insightful. I am running a HubSpot for Sales Managers course. If anybody's interested in it, it'll be a 5-day course where we go into all of this stuff in much more detail, and we go into the specifics of it as well. So if you're interested in that, let me know. Drop us an email or send me a LinkedIn or something like that, and I'd be happy to talk to you about that. Thank you very much for your attention. I've really appreciated it, and thank you for the communications as we went through. I'll send a recording round as promised. So hopefully if you were here, you'll see me again. And if you missed it, you've been able to catch up on all the fun. Thanks very much, everybody. And I'll see you again very soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.